in the context of where you work, low income, conflict countries, there's a lot of conflicts going on right now. Should governments be involved more in providing food for their population and ensuring that consumers at the very bottom of the pyramid are getting access to quality food?
I mean, typically our consumers, our recipients, beneficiaries have very, very little choice. They're the hungriest of the hungry, the most vulnerable of the vulnerable.
And I guess one question is, why does that even happen? Why aren't governments being held accountable for ensuring that their citizens are fed?
Well, we tend to be in countries where the governments are either unwilling or don't have the capacity, they don't have the means to feed their people. They are countries at war, big humanitarian access problems. But we can only work in places where we are invited in by the government. Tough places, difficult governments, oftentimes. I'm thinking of DPRK, North Korea. I'm thinking of Sudan. I'm thinking of Syria these days. But we must work with and through the governments to reach the people that we need to reach.
So you're not replacing them, you're working with them.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And what we're trying to do is build up their capacities to establish the systems, to establish the structures that will allow them, or their countries, to feed their own people. And over time, thinking of North Korea, for example, WFP went into North Korea at the request of the government in the mid-90s. They'd had huge floods. It was basically the middle of a famine. We sent in a couple of people to have a look. They were basically confined to a hotel in Pyongyang. They could not move about. Any travel they undertook had to be by train. It couldn't be by car or by... So we were very limited in what we could see and do. And that's the way the government wanted it, because they were so unused to outsiders. Over time, we got more access. We were able to see more of the country. We were able to reach more of the country. We were able to show the North Koreans who worked with us their country. Because we had that access, we typically had more access than the North Korean officials that we dealt with. So, you got to work with these folk. You don't have a choice. And over time, there is a building of mutual trust, and things open up a little bit. Oftentimes, it's not perfect, but we must work within these limitations if we're to help the people who need the help.